All right, we have week 6 of the SPL. We are going up against Necra and the Shoutcast Sylveons, and I am still sick, unfortunately, while I am playing this game, so we are still doing post commentary. But this is a team that could be scary to Dundozo. Let's break it down. All right, for anyone who needs a recap on the Jubilife Piplups, we have the Golden Go, Dundozo, Glamora, Tinglu, Galarian Zapdos, Screamtail, Shaymin, Fletchender, and Tatsugiri. Meanwhile, we're facing Necra, who's running Cornerstone, Ogerpon, Volcarona, Suicune, Klefki, Hisuian Gudra, Zarude, Palmot, Lapras, Sliverwing, and Miss Magius. So there is quite a few Pokemon that I am a bit interested in, but yes, I do know that there is Haze available for Necra, and there's a lot of setup on this team, so it kind of makes it an interesting dynamic. Dundozo can be good, but of course there is going to be Haze Mons. Actually funny because I was building this and then I looked up an hour before and I realized that Suicune didn't get Haze. I know Lapras gets Haze because I've used it before, but I thought Suicune had Haze, but it only gets Mist, so that was an oopsie on my part. So maybe it was a bit more viable than I expected. However, I'm like, against screens as well, I don't want to bring it into screens Lapras because they can pretty much just bulk one attack. They have Palmot with Fake Out, Revival Blessing, Pressure as well. They got a few grass types, so it's like, do I really want to commit Dundozo here? And I'm like, not really. I think there could have been lines if I appropriately formatted it, because against Volcarona it's still really good. Against the Gudra it's really good. But at this point I'm like, you're not bringing the body press Gudra set against me because I have Unaware Dundozo that can come and play even on the Tinglu stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something different because there was something I saw in mind here. And that was the fact that there aren't that many good resistances to ground on this team. The only ground immunity they have is going to be the Mismagius, and it's still weak to Tinglu because Tinglu is a dark type as well. So I'm like, you know, that sounds pretty fun. So my idea here for this week is to go with a Choice Banded Tinglu and go for as much damage as possible. So this is what I crafted. We have the Choice Band Tinglu with the Terra Poison, a great defensive typing because they don't really have much to punish it at all. Like literally nothing punishes Tinglu. It's just able to tank attacks and fire back because they don't have much offensive pressure other than maybe Cornerstone Ogerpon and for immediate damage output. I'm like, okay, this Tinglu is really good. Helps shut down the Volcarona, which could be a scary threat, especially against Golden Go, which is also good against their team. So I'm like, okay, I think Choice Band Tinglu is fantastic. Its coverage is pretty good against most of the common Volcarona Terra types, and even then Earthquake is still doing a ton of damage. Otherwise, like, Rock Slide is doing a bunch. I also have a Galarian Zapdos that threatens the Volcarona, so I'm like, I'm bringing the Tinglu with the Choice Band. That is the idea with Terra Poison. We are running a lot of speed. This is able to outspeed Cornerstone Ogerpon under that Tailwind, and we are firing back with some powerful Earthquake, Stomping Tantrums, Rock Slide to cover for the Volcarona or any Terra Flyings, and Drill Chop to hit the Mismagius. I almost thought about running Terra Blast for the Zarude, but since I have the Galarian Zapdos in mind, I think that should be good enough. So the idea with the Tinglu is to pair it up with Tailwind, and I have two Pokemon with Tailwind. It's actually funny because Fletchender was a last minute addition. I didn't originally plan to bring Fletchender, but I did bring it in the end over Glamora. Again, I only have an hour to prep for these matches as the idea of the challenge for myself. So I decided, you know what, I'll bring Fletchender. I originally was going to bring Glamora, but because it was good into Volcarona, the Poison's really good against like some of the stuff like the Break Sash on Palmot, the Lapras, the Suicune, but I felt like it wasn't really necessary for what I needed to do because I had pretty good mods anyway into the build. So I felt like having a secondary Tailwind just to be safe. There's some way they deny Tailwind, like if they bring Taunt Cornerstone Ogerpon or Taunt Mismagius or some kind of trick, I'm just gonna have Fletchender just in case, because the idea again is to sweep with Tinglu with Choice Band under Tailwind. So right, Fletchender just in case has Focus Sash, so you know it could stick around maybe for one hit. Goes for the Tailwind, dual Wing Beats, Taunt and Protect. Again, it was a last minute addition, so I didn't think about it too much with the Terra Ghost to play around to Fake Out on Palmot. We have the Shaymin though, which is the main idea with this team, which is getting that Tailwind up with the Shaymin. And I was even going to Earthquake next to Shaymin, even if I let Shaymin Tinglu if there was no Mismagius brought. So we have the Terra Flying just in case. We have the Akaberry because it helps for doubles, especially from the Volcarona that they have here. And my idea was have the Terra Flying, can go for the Earthquake if I need to, but mainly just want to go for the Tailwind with the Shaymin next to the Tinglu. Seed Bomb, for coverage against, again, the water types in general. And I am bringing physical Shaymin because I thought of this fun trick I want to try with Swords Dance Baton Pass, because the idea was get Tailwind over Shaymin while they're playing defensive against the Choice Band Tinglu that's wrecking havoc through the team. I can potentially get a Swords Dance over Shaymin, Baton Pass, get into my Zapdos Galar, and go for Trailblaze, boost my speed. So even if Tailwind is gone, the Zapdos is fast, it's set up, it's ready to go. And I would even go for Self Trailblaze into my Tinglu in some situations if it could afford it. If they keep going for like Spiky Shield Protect and then Spiky Shield Protect to stall out the Tailwind turns, I would go for that. So that's the concept. We have the Zapdos Galar with the Assault Vest and running quite a bit of bulk with a lot of attack still, because I still think it's pretty important to run attack. And yeah, Assault Vest pretty much just tanks any move that they could really go for, and it's just able to threaten a lot. We have the Brick Break in case that they do have the Klefki, Thunderous Kick, fun double ups with the Tinglu with Choice Band Tinglu plus Thunderous Kick. It will do a ton of damage. Brave Bird for the Volcarona, and again Trailblaze for that speed boost because that's part of the plan. Terrifier just so I don't get burned by the Galarian Zapdos, which was important, and that was pretty much it. Scream Tail here with that booster energy for support with the Photosynthesis, going to be the speed booster. Really, I just had no item I was going to give on the Scream Tail because I'm like, what am I giving this? This doesn't really need an item. I guess I could give it like a leftovers or something, but I'm trying to sweep the game with Tinglu, so I don't think there are going to be that many turns. So I'm like, okay, I'll just give it booster energy in case like Volcarona got Quiver Dance up somehow and I can Encore, disable, or it's still outspeeded. So yeah, that was the idea. Psychic Fangs allows me to two-shot the Palmon, as well as get some chip damage across the board, but also the factor is that I am able to remove screens with Scream Tail as well, so having two ways is still pretty nice. Final Pokemon is going to be that Golden Go with the Life Orb. I kind of want an immediate damage output, and I don't want to really play passive too much against Suicune. I want to make sure that I'm doing as much damage as possible with a Nasty Plot into another hit. It's also helpful into breaking walls like the Hisuian Goodra with its high special defense. And yeah, like just having immediate damage on the board seemed pretty nice. +2 Make It Rain can also like maybe KO Lapras with that Life Orb, threaten Miss Magius and other Pokemon just at +2 instead of like a +4 with a defensive set. And again, going offense with Tailwind is the goal of the team. The idea of the team is to sweep with the Choice Band Tinglu next to Galarian Zapdos. Golden Go can come in to Scream Tail, Encore disable. It does its thing, as well as remove screens. And then Tailwind support for the Shaymin. And then Fletchender is just a backup in case I really need it. But that is the idea of the team, and let's get into the battle. All right, we have the team of Lapras, Suicune, Miss Magius, the Hisuian Goodra, Ogerpon, Cornerstone, and Palmot. And interesting to say the least, I did not expect Zaru to be left behind, but we do have the Suicune instead. Everything else was basically in my range of expectation, which is pretty nice. The Lapras probably running the Haze. It is the Terra Fairy set. Suicune, I'm kind of curious on what set it might be. Maybe Tailwind, but not too sure. Miss Magius, I'm trying to figure it out because it could be Trick Room or some other set. Hisuian Goodra, which of course is probably going to be offensive. I don't think you're running a Body Press set against my team specifically. The Cornerstone Ogerpon, maybe it's Encore. I'm not exactly too sure. Maybe Sword Stance. And then Palmot, I assume, is going to be the Focus Sash Revival Blessing, especially because they are running the Stellar Terra on the Palmot. The Ogerpon's running Rock. The Goodra is going to be running Water. Miss Maggie is going to be Electric. Suicune going to be Flying. And Lapras is going to be Fairies. So interesting to see no screens from Klefki and no Zarude. But overall, I think it's a pretty good matchup for me. All I need to do is just straight up do the damage, especially because I know that my Tinglu with Choice Band is going to do a lot of work. And that's basically the goal, get my Tinglu set up and do a ton of damage across the board. And I do want to bring the Shaymin because I think it's pretty hard for the knockout right here. It's good into the double water types. I'm not sure if we're going to see the Lapras, mainly because I'd imagine Lapras was mainly for Dundozo, but I didn't bring my Dundozo answers at all. So my game plan, as I mentioned before, just dish out a ton of damage using the Choice Band Tinglu, because Choice Band Tinglu looks really good, especially with the Terra Poison, and should be a good time. So let us see what we are going to be dealing with, as we're going to be facing the Goodra and Miss Magius versus my Shaymin Tinglu. And I'm like, okay, I feel pretty good about the situation. I should just be able to get a very straightforward attack. And I believe a double up should be able to KO the Miss Magius, even if they go for the Terra. So I'm just going to throw off a Seed Bomb and a Throw Chop, because if I get rid of Mismagius, that's their only ground immunity gone, unless they had a Terra Flying, but they don't have Terra Flying on their team, and pretty much everything is just going to be very ground weak. So go for the attacks. I'm not really familiar with any way I could see a knockout right here from my opponent, so I'm like, okay, Tinglu should be pretty safe. I think Shaymin should be pretty good in general to take the attack, so kind of curious on what they are going to be doing with this lead here, but just dealing with that Mismagius is going to be my priority, so I can allow Tinglu to sweep. But we see the Goodra being faster than the Mismagius, revealing Acid Spray, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then we see Grass off from Mismagius go into the Tinglu. It just one shot. I'm like, I'm really punished for not going for Terra Poison, huh? That was a terrible turn one start. That was my main offense just gone. And I'm like, oh man, at least I do have to Mismagius with Seed Bomb, but now it's like, that's a really bad start. And I have no idea. I was calcing the Mismagius and I was like, okay, that's kind of awkward, but it can be either Expert Belt, since I'm not running like a really bulky Tinglu, or it could be Choice Specs, but I don't know if it's Choice Specs or Expert Belt, because Expert Belt would be the worst case scenario, because then they could switch up moves and go for Acid Spray plus like Shadow Ball into Scream Tail or Shaymin, or maybe they have Thunderbolt with the Mismagius and go for the Zapdos instead. So I'm like, I'm in a really rough position. I'm pretty sure I do have to go Scream Tail. I'm just checking some calcs and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I maneuvering against this? At least based on the speed interaction, I'm assuming that the Hisuian Goodra is probably going to be Choice Scarf at this point, because Goodra is a very slow Pokemon, and I mean a very slow Pokemon. So I don't think that this is going to be a non-Choice Scarf Goodra. Like, I'm pretty sure it is locked into the Acid Spray. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some switch outs right here, but I am going to just try to get my tail in advantage, especially since the Mismagius is offensive. I don't think it is going to be the Trick Room variance. I'm like, okay, do I get the KO in the Mismagius, or do I just go for the Tailwind? But I actually decided instead to go for a Seed Bomb into Mismagius, because I'd rather get that knockout or just get some damage on whatever comes in, like Cornerstone Ogerpon if it wants to switch in, so Mismagius can reset. Because like, if they are specs, which I wouldn't be surprised by, because if they want to take out like an Assault Vest Tinglu, I think Choice Specs makes more sense. So I'm just gonna go for the Seed Bomb instead and disable that Goodra, so I'm not getting hit by an Acid Spray with either my Pokemon. That way, at least, even if this is Expert Belt Mismagius, it won't be able to knock out my Scream Tail, at least with Shadow Ball. So I do trade probably like at least a decent position. However, again, Goodra can switch out, Mismagius can switch out, but interestingly enough, we just don't see any switches, which is like phenomenal for me. I disabled the Acid Spray, and we do reveal that the Mismagius goes for Grass Knot again. I'm like, okay, you are 100% Choice Specs. You are 100% Choice Specs if you went for the Grass Knot there. As I do get the Seed Bomb into Mismagius, I'm like, okay, this could have been bad if they switched out, but I will definitely take them staying in. So fantastic. Maybe they anticipated me to think that I was going to read the switch out and go for like a Dazzling Gleam instead. Nope, it worked out perfectly in my favor, as Palmot is revealed here. And I'm like, okay, feeling pretty good about my position. I'm going to get Speed Control for Tailwind so I can outspeed the Palmot. I don't know what the Palmot can do. I don't think I can pick up the knock on either of my Pokemon. The Goodra probably has to switch out, so do they want to go for Revival Blessing? I'm kind of okay with this. I'm just going to fire off my attack, go for that Psychic Fangs into the Palmot, as we do see the Revival Blessing come out. And it's like, okay, you're going to get your free Mismagius heal, but it's like, I was doing more than 50% with the Shaymin with Seed Bomb, so I think I'll be pretty good, as we're going to see the struggle come out into the Shaymin. And yeah, we do reveal that it is confirmed to be Choice Scarf at this point, as I do get the Tailwind up with the Shaymin, and Tailwind is up. Beautiful. The Palmot cannot Terra out of the Psychic Fangs, and I'm gonna pretty much assume the Goodra is always forced to switch, so I'm just gonna go for Psychic Fangs into the Palmot, and I'm gonna set up a Swords Dance, because I could potentially Baton Pass into my potential threat of the Galarian Zapdos, or have Shaymin as an offensive threat, so I can actually do more damage to Cornerstone Ogerpon and guarantee the 2-shot with Seed Bomb, or maybe Seed Bomb at +2 with Psychic Fangs could KO the Cornerstone Ogerpon. So might as well. I think the Goodra might be Sap Zipper, so there's no really point of targeting it, I guess, if I want to read the switch, but I'd rather just get the Swords Dance up anyway if I do expect Cornerstone, because then I'm guaranteed to 2-shot regardless. As we do see the Goodra switch out, because it is locked into Struggle. We're going to see the Ogerpon reveal itself here, and I'm like, okay, this is completely fine. And no switch from the Palmot, no Protect, so I am able to KO the Palmot, and Palmot will go down to the Psychic Fangs. and we will get a Swords Dance up with the Shaymin. And Shaymin's looking pretty dangerous right now. Like, actually, it's really hard for them to KO the Shaymin. I'm able to get some pretty big damage. I have Disable, so I'm assuming the Ogerpon's only attack move that can hit the Shaymin would be the Ivy Cudgel. So they gotta watch out. Miss Magius is gonna reveal itself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure your specs on Miss Magius, so unless you're trying to bait me and go into Goodra as a double here, I just don't see a reason why I don't just break that sturdy on the Ogerpon and go for the Seed Bomb into Miss Magius. If we go into Goodra, I still threaten the Cornerstone Ogerpon with the Seed Bomb potentially, but we're actually just going to see a Follow Me. So the Cornerstone Ogerpon is going to be sacrificed, it looks like, as I do get a Psychic Fangs off to break the sturdy. Doesn't do impressive damage to the Ogerpon, but this +2 Seed Bomb will be able to be enough to pick up the knockout into the Cornerstone Ogerpon. Like, that's a very nice trade here, as we're going to see a Shadow Ball come out from Miss Magius, but I already did the calc. Shadow Ball was not KOing my Scream Tail unless they crit me, and yet we do confirm it is specs damage once again. So very nice, as Goodra is going to come out, and I pretty much have a guaranteed win at this point because I still have one more turn of Tailwind. I'm able to go for a Seed Bomb into Miss Magius. I'm trying to see if I can figure out if I can win with Differential at this point, because Differential does matter in this league. It will impact tiebreakers at the end of the season. So I go for the Seed Bomb easily into Miss Magius to always get the knockout, and then I just protect the Scream Tail to see what the Goodra is going to lock itself into, and then go for the Disable from there, and then I should have a good situation. The only problem is the only way I do damage without revealing any information is the fact that the Goodra's probably Sap Zipper, right? Like, that's what I'm assuming at this point. It's like, okay, if you're Sap Zipper on the Goodra, I have to rely on you going for struggle damage, and if they get the targets right into Scream Tail multiple times, because it is like a 50% chance, and I lose Scream Tail, it's like, okay, I would be forced to reveal the Galarian Zapdos. So I'm kind of curious on, like, okay, is there a position where I can avoid that? But we are going to see a Terra, which is surprising because there's no Terra that really saves them in this position. Miss Maggie is going to Terra into the Terra Electric, but I think it's just at this point they do know that no matter what Terra is coming out in this game, there is no way to win, as I do go for the Protective Scream Tail. It's just such a safe Protective Scalp for the Goodra attack, and with the Tailwind we do outspeed the Miss Magius this time, fire off the Seed Bomb, and once again Shaymin has taken a knockout into this Miss Magius twice. As I think Miss Magius will be haunting Shaymin for a bit, but as the Miss Magius faints, we're gonna see knockoff from the Goodra. I'm like, okay, this is a really interesting Goodra set with Choice Scarf and knockoff, and I'm like, okay. And here I'm like, okay, thinking, what do I want to do? Because at this point I'm not exactly too sure. I decide, hey, I'm just gonna Tailwind to like stall out a turn and just go for a Disable into the Goodra, because all I have to do is just play around. I'm trying to debate on if I want to guarantee figure out if this is Sap Zipper Goodra, because technically we haven't revealed it yet, but I am pretty much assuming at this point because I don't know what else he would really run. I don't believe it would be Gooey, but if it is Gooey on the Goodra, sure, I guess. And then I guess it could be Shell Armor still, but I think that Sap Zipper would make a lot of sense here. Psychic Fang is going to come out into the Goodra for some chip damage. I do go for a Sword Sense once again with the Shaymin, because at this point I'm not really doing anything, so might as well. And I don't want to give it the attack boost here yet, as they go for struggle, take a bunch of recall. I think I start misplaying this couple turns though, because I definitely could have just won on differential at this point by protecting the Scream Tail over and over again. And I shouldn't have Seed Bombed here. I think I should protect Seed Bomb, because I did want to confirm the ability, but I do give it the Sap Zipper attack boost, and then it just goes into my Scream Tail with the struggle, and I lose my Scream Tail. So all that wasted effort just to lose the Scream Tail was not the right play. I should have always just protected, I think, multiple times, and Sword Stance a bunch, and then maybe put the Goodra once it's in range of another Psychic Fangs to just go for the Psychic Fangs at that point. And yeah, I don't think it was really worth that, because I do lose 1 point differential here, so not my best option. I know I have the game locked regardless, because I can still pick up the knockout on the Goodra, so I just go for Sword Dance, and I'm just gonna go for my Thunderous Kick, as I mean, I don't want to reveal Brick Break, but I feel like I should reveal Thunderous Kick because it is probably the more likely move. It's either Thunderous Kick or close combat, so I do pick up the Goodra. Not exactly proud of how I played this end game, but or the start of the game, because I just lost my Tinglu right on the spot. But we do take game one, Scream Tail being a hero, and Shaymin putting in a ton of work. We do have it as a new roster member technically, It was brought to last week, but we didn't bring it at all against the Charizard. So yeah, it's going to shine this week, which is very fun because we don't get to use this Pokemon VGC, so you gain to use it in the draft league. I think it's just incredible. And I'm trying to think of, okay, is there anything in game 2? I do know, by the way, if you're trying to comment this, you probably have, because I have not mentioned my Golden Go at all, which if you look on paper, Golden Go just wreaks havoc on this team, right? Lapras can't do much to it. Suicune, I mean, I set up a Nasty Plot and I don't know to bring the Suicune. This Maggie is threatened by Shadow Ball, the Gudra. I mean, maybe it's Flamethrower, but we already saw a knockoff and Acid Spray, so I'm not even too sure. Hearthstone Ogerpon, maybe it has a move that can touch it, but like Stomping Tantrum, I think Ogerpon also gets knockoff, but otherwise, like Make It Rain is threatening a lot of damage, and then of course it's able to live an attack from Palmon and fire back hits, so it is a pretty good mon in this matchup. But I think I'd probably just go the same thing again, because I still think that my game plan is pretty excellent of the Tinglu, the Galarian Zapdos, them trying to stall out the Tailwind types for my Shaymin, and then just being able to sweep using the Galarian Zapdos plus Tinglu combination. And I think Screamtail is also just really good at helping as a setup, as we saw, like it was a really good backup because they especially have 2 choice mons that they brought. So Disable is just really good right here. And if the Cornerstone Ogerpon wants to prevent my disables, if they're switching out, they're taking a bunch of damage. If they go for Follow Me, they're not attacking with Cornerstone Ogerpon, and I can Encore it, make it useless. I think it's just like so much is really good with Screamtail. So pretty much just going to do the same game plan again. Just not lose my Tinglu hopefully on the turn 1 this time. That's all I need to do, is not lose my Tinglu turn 1 this time. So I will probably go for my Terra Poison because I don't think I needed my Terra on anything. Maybe I could have Terra'd my Galarian Zapdos, but my entire game plan anyway was to Terra usually the Tinglu, maybe Golden Go in a specific spot, but at the end of the day, the Tinglu is what's really making it shine. So that's the game plan right here. I'm hoping that I could do the Swords Dance into Baton Pass into my Galarian Zapdos, and I'm not sure that's possible because mainly just the fact that they had 2 choice mons, and I don't even know if, like, I assume Cornerstone Ogerpon has Spiky Shield. Palmod, I don't know if it has Protect. We saw Revival Blessing. You want to assume it's Double Shock Close Combat because of the coverage it has against Tinglu Dozo mode, and then might be Fake Out or it might be Protect. I think that would be the only move slot where it's like, okay, I'd have to figure that out. But we are going to go into game 2 here, and this time I will not be losing my Tinglu turn 1, which was very amusing because that definitely woke me up. Let's see what we're going to find out from the leads though, as we are going to go into game 2. Miss Magius Ogerpon once again, and we are going to see the Tinglu Shaymin here, and I'm like, I'm not falling for Grass Knot. There's no power up. She knows that I'm Terra, but you know what? There's no way you really punish a Terra Poison. So all I have to do, just go for my Tailwind immediately. And as I said before, my first game plan, if I get rid of Miss Magius, it cannot be utilized as a ground immunity switch anymore, which means I could just spam Earthquake if I'm able to switch back in. So go for the Tailwind, go for the Throat Chop, and I think I'm in a good spot because, like, what's the worst Ogerpon can do? I don't think they're going to be running Taunt on this build. I could see Sword Stance, I could see some other tech right here, but I just don't think it's Taunt Ogerpon. I think they're just going to go for Ivy Cudgel. Maybe if they have Sword Stance, they go for Sword Stance. They could Follow Me, although I really doubt it here. So go for the Terra Poison. Ivy Cudgel just going to be fired off into the Shaymin, now following for my Terra Poison trick. And Shaymin takes it really well. Shadow Ball also going to be fired up as a double up into Shaymin, but thanks to the Vessel of Ruin, my goal with Shaymin to live a double up, always get the Tailwind up, and it is performing that beautifully, as I am able to get a Throat Chop into the Miss Magius and just O-code of Miss Magius. So that is their ground immunity gone. They can bring it back with Palmod if they do want to bring it back with Palmod, but that does require wasting a turn, which is pretty important. And that means I get to break the sash on the Palmod, hopefully with the Seed Bomb, unless they go for Follow Me Revival Blessing, which is a very passive move here. So I feel very happy about this spot, as not much I could say. I will probably have to switch out to Tinglu unless they give me the double up chance of Seed Bomb plus Throat Chop into the Cornerstone Ogerpon. They still don't know my item yet because it just went down turn 1, and then Throat Chop should just always KO Miss Magius. Its defense stats are not great. the Palmot going to be revealed here. And yeah, I'm like, okay, my best play is just to Seed Bomb the Palmot. Hope it puts in Psychic Fang range, go out into Scream Tail, and we have a bunch of shenanigans. Encore if they decide to Spike a Shield to break a turn, if they want to go for Fake Out, plus like Ivy Cudgel, I'm completely fine with that. As I said before, that'd probably be a great time to get in my Galarian Zapdos. So at this point, feeling pretty good because I know my game plan. I'm gotta use these Tailwind turns wisely, but all I have to do is set up for success for my Tinglu and Galarian Zapdos in the back. And step one of that is breaking sashes, which is the sash and the sturdy on these Pokemon. So Shaymin putting in work. Shaymin is putting in work. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Tinglu just get hit by a Fake Out right here, because right now the Tinglu is looking pretty threatening across the board. We do switch out the Tinglu though to reset because I do have Choice Band. Scream Tail will take the field, get that booster energy as well, so that will be important, as I will still outspeed these Pokemon no matter what. And let's see, Seed Bomb is going to go out into the Palmot, and I think it puts it in Psychic Fang range. We do see the Ivy Cudgel, which will finally take the knockout into Shaymin, but Shaymin, you have trooped. You have done so well in this match, and we are going to see the Palmot actually go for the double shock, and I'm like, ooh, I really like this. I really like the spot now because there's no Revival Blessing, so Miss Magius is not on the board. Now I can go out on a Tinglu, and I'm like, Earthquake's looking pretty dang good right here. That'd be pretty dang good. Now the question is, do I just want to protect Scream Tail on the Earthquake, or do I want to hard switch to Palmot? I know I have some turns of Tailwind left, but I do want to try to capitalize just in case. So I do go for the Earthquake, and I'm actually going to go into my Galar Zapdos because if both of these reveal Protect right here, then I still can go for the Earthquake, and I can go for Trailblaze double up into the Cornerstone Ogerpon and be in a very fantastic spot. So I'm very happy about the situation. Just going to be able to go for really strong damage output with my Tinglu, and I don't really have to worry too much. I also thought about going for Psychic Fangs and Earthquake right here, but I really want my Galar Zapdos set up. But I'm kind of curious on what is in the back at this point, because your Scarf Gudra was more of a support Pokemon at that point with the Miss Magius, so I don't know if there's like a water type in the back like the Lapras or the Suicune at this rate. And I'm just trying to figure out, okay, what are my lines? I don't know. Maybe Suicune in the back, but that means I should probably save the Scream Tail. So Zapdos is going to come out as we're going to see the Palmot retreat, and we'll see the last Pokemon, and it is going to be the Gudra. I'm like, oh, you are a Scarf Gudra. You should not be taking a Choice Banded Earthquake, as I do go for the Earthquake with the Tinglu, and it is going to do a ton of damage to the board. And the Gudra survives. I'm like, wait, that has bulk. And I was shocked because I'm like, this was Choice Banded Tinglu. Ivy Cudgel came out also into the Zapdos, and it was close with a crit. I thought I would definitely live a crit guaranteed, but oh boy, it became a bit weird. And I was calculating Gudra. I'm like, okay, you have bulk. I don't know if you're actually max speed timid Gudra. I could see you being just 1 point faster than Miss Magius, and Miss Magius might even be modest. So I'm actually just going to go for Earthquake Trailblaze because I'm like, I just don't believe in A, the Gudra being faster than my Tinglu under Tailwind, and then B, also being able to KO my Galarian Zapdos, because the only moves we saw were Knockoff and Acid Spray. They were not really impressive moves. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake and the Trailblaze as they go for the Spiky Shield, and this is exactly why I went for the Trailblaze with the Zapdos, because I am able to go for the Trailblaze and outspeed these Pokemon in the future turns after the Tailwind expires. And I do go for the Earthquake. We do confirm I am faster than Gudra. I'm like, yeah, I should be. I was just already shocked that the Gudra survived the Earthquake in the first place, because I thought I was like going to have a very set position with Galarian Zapdos next to Tinglu, but not the case. I am able to pick up the knockout into the Gudra though, and the Trailblaze was set up successfully, and that's what I want to do. Now it's Palmot and the Cornerstone Ogerpon. I also think I kind of don't make the most optimal play here. I'm pretty sure I went for a Earthquake and a Brave Bird into the Palmot, and the only problem with this play is that the Palmot has Protect. You can go for Protect and Ivy Cudgel with your Ogerpon into the Zapdos. Zapdos goes down. I'm locked into Earthquake. Then it could be a little bit awkward, but because then you, but then I think it actually, regardless, no matter what, it was fine now that I think about it, because I always get the Earthquake off into the Ogerpon. Ogerpon goes down, and then I guess it just comes down to if Palmot can actually go for multiple protects, because I think their win con is getting multiple protects. Earthquake KOs my own Screamtail. I think I need to create my own Screamtail, but they would have to get so many protects at this point. So actually, no, looking back at it, this is still a fine play, as I am just going to be able to go for a Brave Bird and Earthquake. And also they revealed that Palmot doesn't have Protect, so I'm like, okay, that's completely fine. So like that always secures the game regardless, as Ivy Cudgel going to come out of Tinglu, a crit one and knock out Tinglu, and I am able to just fire off the Earthquake here and be able to pick up a double knockout. So very happy here, as we are able to do what I want to do. Tinglu, Galarian Zapdos, really strong combo. I didn't get any Thunderous Kicks that were super important for the Earthquake defense drops against like a bulky Suicune or screens. I didn't even get to use like my Brick Break or Psychic Fang text for that reason, but hey, we were able to put in a ton of work. Now the Jubilife Piplups are actually 5-1 in the league, so that is very nice, and we are actually the rank leader currently, so that is very nice, as we will be trying to win our remaining 2 games, because it does matter for playoffs and seedings. The top 4 teams of the regular season do get a bye going into the playoffs, so we'll be trying our best. But good games to Necra. If you do want to go check her out, you can check her out. Awesome VGC commentator, and she does VGC content, so I'll link her channel alongside all the other coaches of the SPL. Make sure you go check them out, but of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always, as we take on Clover Bells, another VGC YouTuber, in the next week.